just love the drama.
Really few turns since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that.
Because loose lips sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
His sticky patch came when the rest of the team's sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, poops joke, hot wings.
He should be stood outside Hillsborough, stocks having rock fruit thrown at him.
Sheffield is a place like no other.
Low on the far post, it's cut back instead for Smith. Oh, a sensational goal! For Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday week on the night after England ladies or England women raised the European trophy once again for the second time of asking. Coach Serena Wiegman's third one in on the bounce, I believe, which has been amazing. John, I am brand new to this entire thing, but I tell you what, since like the quarterfinals, I was in. I was all in. I woke up the neighbours and everything, especially in the semis.
Yeah, 100%. I think they didn't have a great start, did they? They were on the ropes at one point in one of the opening group games, weren't they? And they bounced back, and what they showed throughout the tournament was resilience and a will to win. And they were never down and out. Whether they were always fighters. They were always in came back in games. And yeah, as you said, it progressed to knockout stage, and ultimately, getting to the final. I think we all just got mesmerised by it and just totally got sucked in. And what a ride it were.
It's had like Southampton in the playoffs vibes. You know what I mean? They should have never beat Leeds. I don't know why, but that kind of made me think about that. But it was just the absolute epitome of resilience and fair play, ladies. Honestly, it was a genuine joy to watch. It was absolute cinema. It really was. Ashley, can you do it on a warm Monday night in Stoke? How are you from your fancy digs? That's very beige.
Yeah, I know, mate. Yeah. We'll find out, won't we? But yeah, living it up in Stoke, it's the place to be, apparently. Well, for now, anyway.
For now, we'll see what happens. We'll see where next week brings you. It could be like the Sheffield Wednesday top 5 players that have since departed. Stevie, how's the legs? You had a hell of a weekend of it, didn't you?
I am in a world of hurt, mate.
Tell us about what you did and why you did it. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so we put out a sort of a preview show for the benchwalk for Speakeasy last week that was really well received. Speakeasy Club have done a benchwalk from Derby County, Pride Park Stadium to Hillsborough to raise awareness of mental health issues, support that you can get, the charity that he's sort of getting off the ground. And I signed up for it a while ago and said, yeah, it's only walking, it can't be hard. But we're going to walk from Derby. Well, that sounds like fun. Let's walk from Derby. It'll be a nice day. And as things transpired, it became a thing where we were getting the hotel the night before because we were meeting at 4 a.m. and we started walking at 4:15. And by 6 a.m., I think I got as far as halfway to Ripley. We got to Ripley at 8 a.m. And we were still another 6 hours away from Chesterfield, which was the first ground that we got to. Myself, Stu Turner from Lensgo, so the guy who does all the inside match day stuff, he walked with us. Obviously, Speakeasy himself. We had James, who was one of Stu's mates, and Sean from the Wednesday community program was also involved. So, and Jay, who was the kit man. He's in our last man standing chat. He's the kit man from Sheffield FC. So there was a merry band of 6 of us who decided it'd be a good idea to walk 44 miles, as it ended up being. I think the numbers, I've done 100,000 steps, 44 miles, walked for 14 and a half miles. I can't feel my legs, and the chafing is unlike any pain. My undercarriage is like sandpaper.
I tell you what you've got there. Obviously, working in hospitality, and there's a few people that have probably worked back of house in restaurants. What you've got there is something called chef's ass. And that is prevalent around the hospitality industry, and it's normally remedied by a liberal dusting of corn flour. So if you do want to, it's like a makeshift field bandage, but in the world of hospitality. So if you need an inside tip, there you go. Now, the name of this episode tonight was in reference to the fact that we've not had any real news come out of the club. No one like the chairman has made a statement. We've still not heard from Danny Rowell since he returned back to work. So I was a little bit like, well, we haven't got anything. And then the last few days happened, and all of a sudden we've got like a bumper packed out show. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, but none of it is good news. None of it is, it's just stuff to talk about. And I want to get your views and opinions via the comments. Get involved if you could, please, through whatever medium you're watching it through, because Ash needs something to read while he's supposed to be doing this show. It's actually fun to watch. So let's get right into it. So Monday we recorded last week. Stupid Sexy Aidan Flint signed for Walsall, which might be a decent signing for them, but given the way that Walsall's season went last year, I think they're missing a striker more than they are a defender. And this one was some sad news for some of the podcasters in Michael Smith signing for Preston in what is somehow a worse kit than the one that the effort that we've produced. It is absolutely bloody terrible. I thought Castore were meant to be like top banana, Ash.
Is the kit terrible, or is it the front of shirt sponsor, Dan, that's terrible? Or does the sponsor ruin the kit or make the kit? If you know what I mean?
I was trying to work this out, right? I was thinking, is it just because it's a terrible, shitty sponsor? But if you put your hand over the sponsor, like Smudge has done after work there for us in that picture, that is just a white T-shirt. That is a white V-neck T-shirt from Primark. What the beans on toast is happening there? John, we lost some big players last week in Masaba, Gassama, what we'll get into in a bit. Smudge, I feel, might be a bit of a loss as well, like more than I think a lot of the fans realise right now. What do you reckon?
Yeah, 100%. I think Smudge offered us something that none of the strikers did, I thought. Maybe with the exception of Lee Gregory, who got good hold up play, but obviously, he'd gone before that. But I thought it was a good pro. I think that's what people will say about him. He was a good pro. He'd been in and out of the side at times, being a substitute, but always came up with key moments, key goals, scored that tremendous goal, didn't he, down at Portsmouth, which will live long in the memory. And I think he was just an important squad player that, we still would probably need. Well, look at the squad, would absolutely need him, wouldn't we? Absolutely need him. So I think he's a big loss, and not just for what he brought on the pitch, but I think he was a generally liked character among the dressing room as well. And I don't want to stereotype, but Geordies they're easy to get on with, aren't they? I've always come across Geordies as being a friendly bunch, like, you know what I mean? So he goes up a little bit closer to home, I suppose. But yeah, it's a loss. It's no doubt about it. We'll miss him. Looking at current squad, he would still absolutely be part of that and get game time. So he's going to be a loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Stevie, where I know you like a certain type of player. Where do you stand on the Michael Smith chat?
I've kind of, I think we alluded to this last week. I've kind of done a 180 on him in that I found him to be quite expendable previously, but then it got to sort of January, and when we realised that we weren't necessarily going to be in that position to attract a certain calibre of striker, and we weren't necessarily going to have the money to bolster the squad. And when things weren't going right with Ugbo, there was a clamouring, and I think it sort of evolved with Michael Smith last year in the sense that, he was a bit part player, but he became more and more important. And the role that he played coming off the bench, I thought was a really important one. So, off the top of my head, going back to games, I think it was QPR where he came on and sort of changed the game. And previously he's done bits at Norwich as well, hasn't he, when he's come on and 2-0 down and we've scored the goals and so forth. He's going to be a loss. I absolutely believe that he's going to be a loss. With all of them that have gone, and to kind of temper it a little bit, I wonder if it's a loss that we're feeling more because we're losing players and not replacing them. Is it a situation where if we'd have brought in 3 other players, another striker, another midfielder, another defender, somebody's going to say, 3, and we've got rid of so many. But if we brought players in that are going to replace the ones that have moved on, are we going to miss the players as much as we do now because we're not replacing them with anybody, if that makes sense? So have we got a weird version of benchitis for Michael Smith because we're not replaced him with anyone. And where we're now looking down the line and we've got Cads coming back from Lincoln and we've got Ugbo and we've got Jamal Lowe who's flattered to deceive at times. And we're kind of scratching around a bit thinking, I'm not sure what we've got to replace him. Having said all of that, like I said, he's going to be a big miss because he was very impactful coming off the bench, and I thought he proved himself to me last season, and he's going to be missed.
I feel there's an element, Ash, of because of the circumstance in which we've lost these players, it kind of it feels a bit harder, doesn't it?
Nice. Excuse my French. It's a fucking joke, isn't it? I'm sure the player, apart from, I would say, Gassama, I would say that the players that have left, I would have said, thank you very much. It's harsh. We've got to get on with it. We've got to bring in new blood. It'd be like, oh, right, okay, you've done great, Smith and Windass as well. Even Masaba, because I think he needed to move on. But it's just the manner of what's happened. It's the manner and the lack of any sort. It's not just even like transfer rumours, is it? It's just nothing. There's nothing saying, oh, so-and-so's rumoured to be moving. I think there's been a couple of young lads trained this week, apparently, what we've seen, but there's just nothing. So you're losing these players that were key players at a time, have got a place, but then you've got nothing. It is just dire. It's just bad news after bad news. I think we've got 15 players.
Is it that bad? Did you do a count today?
And 9 of the 11 that started against Watford have left.
Good Lord. Good Lord. I tell you what, actually, if I skip forward a couple of days on our timeline, thank you again, Stevie, for doing our own work. There was an optimistic message from Alex Miller that said we're not looking to offload any players. And since then, well, we'll get into it with with the following few days. So, John, this one I feel is harder. I think this is the difficult one. With not only is he our highest scoring goal scorer in the 21st century, Josh Windass being pictured in a red kit with the word United splashed across the front of it just absolutely makes me unhappy. This is an awful time to be a Sheffield Wednesday fan. And I feel that this is one of the worst, the worst ones of the lot, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the whole situation is reminding me of, you've all seen Saving Private Ryan. So, the mother's lost like three sons in the war. So they get a guy in, come on, let's not lose anymore. I feel like we're going to go in and, saving Private Bannon because he's losing all his pals around him. We're not retaining anybody. And we're just like, what's happened to Firmino? Gone. Oh, shit. What about Smith? Gone. Oh, no. You know what I mean? Bad news. It's just like being in a war film. Everybody, all your mates are just dying off and getting poached by all these other teams. It's like Bannon's hanging around. He's the only one left. So we're gonna have to go in and save him, aren't we? Get Tom Hanks on scene. Go and save Private Bannon.
He's not even at the club either, though, is he?
Yeah. Does he even still play for us anymore? I feel like that's probably going to be a story coming out at some point as well, which I feel would hurt a lot of fans, but that's pure speculation on our behalf. Ash, what we got comment wise in reference to Smith, by the way, I didn't really delve into that.
Not a great deal, to be honest, mate. I'll be honest. Mad Ward, Smudge and Pato were both a handful and shit kickers. I think we'll miss them both. Obviously, we'll get into today's news later on. That's about it, really.
I think you're right. I feel like there is a role for players such as that, and it's best explained if you look who the goal scorers were against QPR away. One of those tiny small pitches where it's blood, sweat, and tears, and they're smashing the back doors out of each other. There's no real room to play sexy football. I think Smudge and Pato are perfect for those types of games. If anything, I feel that Hillsborough is too big for them. Playing away at Pompey or playing away at QPR, those are Smudge and Pato games. But I guess we'll get into the latter in a bit, because in the interim, Stevie, it was also announced that Akin had signed for Hull City as well. Do you feel like, I'll give you, Do you feel like this is a loss, but also do you feel like this is something to allay some of the financial issues that we've got with Hull City?
Well, when you talked about financial, I'm glad you put the Hull City one in there, because we're not losing anything from a wage perspective, are we? Because he wasn't our player, and we tried to re-sign him. So it's a good. You're absolutely right that there's something potentially there, that a bit of business has been done. I don't think anybody will know that one way or another anytime soon. I think it's a loss. And when you think about that question that you just asked around the Hull City issue, it wouldn't surprise me, because I don't think for Maywell moving to Hull is a better move for him necessarily. I think if there's one team, if you look at everything that's happening off the field, if there's one team at the moment that is going to struggle anywhere near as much as we are, I would suggest it's probably going to be Hull, based on everything that is going on there. They've got similar embargo issues, obviously nothing as severe and drastic as what is happening at Hillsborough, but it just felt like his ceiling was a little bit higher. Pato, all right, he's a certain type of player, and we'll discuss him later. Gassama has moved on to bigger and better things. Whether you want to call Scottish football better than Championship football is a conversation within itself, isn't it? But Rangers are at present competing in the Champions League in front of 50,000 people. We can't compete with that at the moment. So it's a good move for Gassama. Masaba going out to Turkey is a bit of a lottery, because you can go out there and, make yourselves and go on to be a Deli Bashiru and find yourself playing in Serie A in 3-4 years' time. Or you could be I think Dele Alli went out there and didn't necessarily do as well. So those sort of things could happen as well. For Maywell, for me, was an improved player under Danny Rule. I thought he got better playing at the left-hand side of a three. I thought he was more effective.
I think he trimmed a lot of weight as well. He was a big stag, like muscle. He was jacked. And I think he slimmed out a lot under Danny and worked on fitness rather than strength under Rule.
I absolutely agree. I think he looked like an athlete. I think he's, the bits that he's done sort of last pre-season to get himself into the conditioning that he did this year. And I think the injury came at a really unfortunate time. And had we not had some of the injuries for Maywell, to Lowe, and to maybe one or two others, who knows what would have happened last season in terms of that playoff push, regardless of what was going on behind the scenes. I think it's a loss. I think he's of an age that we could have kept him, and he'd have been a saleable asset if we'd have secured him under a new contract. And I think that was potentially something that was happening. He was in and around the club. I understand he was down at St George's Park. So it doesn't strike me as him being somebody who was desperate to leave the club, whether or not things happened off the pitch. I think circumstances have played a part in meaning that he's had to move on. And I think that will be a theme that plays out over the next sort of few days when, everything comes to pass.
I think you're right. Ash, this is the worst one for me. I hate this, but I'm happy for him. During all this entire terrible week that we were having, it was confounded as well that Jedi Gassama scored an absolute rip snorter for Rangers in the Champions League, coming on as a substitute in the 74th minute and smashed one. Something that we've seen as Sheffield Wednesday fans, the one where he goes marauding down the left-hand side, cuts inside and smashes it in the near side beams. We're going to miss him, aren't we?
Yeah, but I think it's gone now, innit? I don't think we can, if, buts, maybes and everything, we cannot. We've only got looking backwards at the minute, haven't we? We can't look forwards. So at the minute, we've got to look at players that we've let go for whatever reason. I think there was a lot of talk about, obviously, how much he went for, and I believe that was his contract was paid up. They didn't offer 2.2 million. That was how much his contract was worth. So they paid his contract up, apparently. So that's that. He's gone. There's nothing we can do about it. We can keep posting on it and everything like that, but he's not our player anymore, unfortunately. And then that's it. Yeah, great.
A lot of speculation about whether we had the nous to put in a sell-on clause. A lot of speculation about that online, wasn't
it? Well, there won't be one if he's paid out his contract off. There'll be no clause. So I imagine that will be a big fat fuck all.
There you are. It's a Wednesday week exclusive. Ash knowing bits.
No. It's not. I ain't knowing shit. It's just what you read off online, innit? And everything that you hear online is gospel, innit?
Ladies and gents, Wednesday week ITK.
Hold tight, kids. It's advert time. Hold tight, kids. It's advert time. time.
Sorry, John, I cut you off there, didn't I,
It's
with the
okay, mate.
advert break? Go on, mate.
I was just going to say, I can't actually bring myself to watch that Gassama goal. I know that might sound a bit petty, but I'm just like, the whole situation is just like so, cheese me off that I can't even be bothered
He's
to
cheesed him off.
to look at it.
Harsh words from John there.
Yeah.
Harsh words. He's cheesed off.
But I don't know. Like you said, it's just we sell Gassama so we can weld the north stand or something like that. You know what I mean? Just this is the times we're living in.
In it. Ash, what was that? What was that comment from Stu there? I ain't knowing shit. Clip that. I'm putting that in the opening credits, mate. As you can see, we've changed them up a bit, and I'm going to just keep changing them as the season goes on. Because at the end of it is that smudge goal against Pompey, and it's just going to make me upset as time spins on. Now, Stevie, if we go to the squad development piece of the show, Alex Miller, again, like I said, borderline optimistic, saying that there was no plans to get rid of any more players. And then something happened that I don't think Holly is going to recover from. And I wanted to come to you specifically about this because I know you've been a detractor of his at certain times, not constantly. Don't get me wrong. I know that there's an element of, report what's there and talk about what we've seen after we've given it the eye test and things like that. But Callum Patterson announced on socials that he's leaving the club. And then within about 8 minutes, he was announced as a Milton Keynes Dons player. Which is absolute beggar's belief to me that we're losing out to players to MK Dons as well. And I think he will absolutely tear that league up. He's big and physical enough to be a difference in that league.
Yeah. I've got quite strong feelings about this one because I think it's the movement of him to MK Dons today sort of signals in my head where we are as a club in terms of what's actually going on, and we don't know what's going on. If there are NDAs that have been signed because people are potentially involved in takeover discussions and things like that, nobody should know. So anything that you're seeing on social media shouldn't be gospel. It shouldn't be the truth. But one thing you can do is put two and two together and think, if Callum Patterson has been in and around things, he was training independently before we started pre-season. When we went back, he's been down at Middlewood Road. He suddenly reappeared and was linked with being involved on Saturday. And then at the last minute, it seems like he was pulled from that game against Mansfield. For him to now not be a Sheffield Wednesday player is a damning indictment as to where we are financially in terms of this week being a really big one, with wages due and the embargo that still exists, and whether or not we can afford to do bits with the current squad and get players over the line. If we're still restricted to a £7,000 a week salary cap and he can go elsewhere and get more money than that, then it's a short career in relative terms, isn't it? Certainly if you're playing at this sort of level, it's not like he's going to be on mega bucks and be able to play 2-3 years and then go and retire. He's going to be a man who will be living within his needs largely. So my worry for the club with Patterson going is that we couldn't keep him, and I think he probably wanted to stay. From an on-field point of view, he was a cult favourite. He was he was quite divisive at times because he was sort of rough around the edges, wasn't he? But he was a character, and I gather he was very well liked by the players and the people around the place. And he always spoke very highly of Sheffield and Sheffield Wednesday as a fan base and a community. And this one stings a little bit for me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it says a lot without actually saying it, doesn't it, about where we are as a club. And I mean, John, he scored that goal that sent us into raptures, the fifth goal against Peterborough after Hillsborough fell silent after Lee Gregory's OG, it turned out to be. I was mortified at that point, and I lost my absolute mind when Callum Patterson did his little point. He will always be a legend for me, and I find him frustrating. I find him hilarious, but I find in terms of effort and in terms of leaving it out on the pitch, there is very few finer. You know what I mean? You were talking earlier about the Lionesses and leaving it out on the pitch. We're going to miss him, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We really are. As you say, he scored a pivotal goal in that game, and incidentally, after Gregory had done that own goal, first and probably the last time in my life, I said, we're not done here. We're still gonna win this. And then, of all people, it's Patterson, such a character that he is, and being in the right place at the right time. He did another one who scored some key goals for us, and another one like Stevie mentioned earlier. Impact player coming off the bench. Whatever you thought of him, he came on. He might not have scored, but he came on. He was a presence. He put himself about. He rubbed players up wrong way. One of the only few players that we've probably had that does that. Not no nonsense and all that. So, but to lose him to MK Dons, I mean, to lose anything to MK Dons, I mean, you wouldn't even lose your virginity in Milton Keynes, would you? In fact, if you lost your virginity in Milton Keynes, you'd lie and say it was actually with Cambridge, mate. You know what I mean? You just wouldn't happen, would it?
Wow, that's a couple of road gags early doors, that, John. I'm a big fan. Did anybody have Saving Private Ryan and Losing Your Virginity in Milton Keynes Dons for tonight's episode? And it's normally me that comes on the flak for this sort of thing, John, I must admit.
What have I done?
Ash, I was going to say, if you're more controversial than me, John, then I don't know why we're here. Ash, what we got comment-wise, and then drop in your memories of Pato.
Yeah, I'll do mine first while I scroll the comments to find some. Yeah, yeah, mate. I really took to Pato. I think exactly echo what everyone said. You want that type of player on the pitch. Looking at the season that I no doubt think we're going to have, you're going to want people in the trenches. You're going to want like blood, shit, snot, all the things you're going to get from Pato. And yes, he's not the most technically gifted. He's not pacey. He probably has not got the best shot or anything, but he's got 110% in him, hasn't he? And like I said before with Smudge, yes, you'd probably move him on. Thank you very much. You've done a great servant last 5 seasons. Thank you very much. We've got XYZ coming in. Well, we haven't got that, have we? So I would have kept Pato for another year. I agree with what you said. I don't want to be saying stuff on this podcast and then MK Dons people clip it and go, oh, why are we losing players to MK Dons and all that? Because we know where we are at the minute. And if we're still under an embargo at $7,000 a week, and MK Dons have offered him anywhere near that in League 2, then fair play to the geezer. Go and get it for 2 or 3 years, whatever they're going to offer him, because he might even be less than that, but he's going to be guaranteed it every month, isn't he? He's not going to get $7,000 this week, 700 quid next month, 500 quid month out. Do you know what I mean? So he deserves it. I've got no issue with Pato at all, and I know people have. But for me, for 5 seasons, if you looked at his goal contribution, I think he's got near 50-something goal contribution in 185 games. So you're not talking sat on the bench doing naff all for 5 years. He has contributed as well. So you know what you're going to get. Sometimes you come on and he put himself about and you're wondering what he did, but then a lot of times he affected the game. So I'm going to miss him. I think he was a good character to have around, and I know that doesn't win you games, but it helps, doesn't it? But yeah, Pato's it's a sad miss, but that's where we are at the minute, and it's just shite all round, and I'm not very positive tonight. Yeah, and I'm keeping my swearing down to a minimum because I don't know who's next door room, you know.
I think that's a really important point to make there, Ash. When you're talking about the characters around the dressing room, the people that you've got in and around there, it's dawned on me that if you look at the players that have moved on in terms of Patterson, Smith, Windass, there's a nucleus of the club. There's a nucleus of the playing squad that's there. If you look at anything inside match day, you look at anything that the club puts out, who are the players at the front and centre? And largely, it's these players that we're talking about that have been moved on. You know, so Masaba and Gassama had a great relationship. They're being and around it with Ugbo, and you've got, you know, those players that are going out and you're clipping little bits here and there. All that's gone. So when you go into that changing room now, you're looking at it. And I know it's a professional football club, and it doesn't come down to this being the be all and end all, but you've got to have that banter, those relationships, that togetherness. And if you're in a relegation battle like we are going to be, and there's no getting away from that, we're going to be in that sort of situation where we're clamouring to get something out of games week in, week out. You're going to need that in the trenches togetherness. And I don't know if we're littering the side with, let's say it happens and we manage to keep Bannon, you've got Palmer in there, and you've got potentially an Iorfa or a Low that will stick around and sort of say, right, we're going to see if we can get it out, get out of this. you're then looking down the squad, and the senior players next year could potentially be Bailey Cadamartri and Rio Shipston. And that's no slight on these two, but they're young lads that have played a handful of games between them for the club in the grand scheme of things. And we're looking at them as being people that are pulling other players in and saying, right, let's get together and create some sort of mentality within the unit that is going to make it very difficult to come and play against us. That's a huge problem.
And that's what the chairman alluded to when he spoke about having Reading as the poster boy. Ash, they played all the kids. Ash, what the people saying now, boys and girls? If you do want to get involved, make sure you get involved in the comments. If you want to watch on YouTube, the social media QR code is on the screen. Don't forget to press like and subscribe. Get yourself involved. Fudge has gone showbiz this summer. You can see it's happening. If you are watching on the big telly, have a little look about. I'll leave that up for a minute while Ash reads the comments.
Yeah, we've got can't be asked. I can. This is the guy, the YouTube comment. The fishing must be better down south. Pato loves his fishing. Yeah.
Yep.
Owen says it's QPR game, which I remember. Yeah, game last season when he came back in, was getting pelters online and then won us the game. And he did an interview, didn't he, after saying he'd suffered quite a bit, being on the bench, not being involved. Waiting for his call up, and obviously got it and coming with a goal. John Wakefield, Pato will always be remembered for that knee slide, which is the one you alluded to. Alex Young said, thank you for everything, Pato. I'm sure he's watching, so he'll get that, Alex. No problem. And Owen again says, Milton sodding Keynes. So yeah, that's the thought, I think, by a lot of Wednesday fans online in the last few hours.
If you do want to get involved, don't forget to press like and subscribe. Okay then. So thanks, Ash. There's been some other chatter around the Sheffield Wednesday sphere, around the ways, John. So I was there on Friday at Tramlines because I like pulp. Who doesn't like pulp? Pulp's good. Apart from the children in their bucket hats that were at the front and their retro football jerseys that came out when I was in my 30s. So that's not fun to see. And then, but I met a good few people actually. It was genuinely dead nice. If you did come and say hello, thanks a lot for not pulling my shorts down when you see me or spitting on my back. That was dead nice. But there was a lot of chatter about the North Stand being condemned at the start of the season. We spoke about the North Stand before, and we spoke in depth. Stevie alluded to it last week, talking about the disparity in prices and where these people are going to sit and things such as that, which I completely agree with. You've paid to sit in a certain area, and if you just get dispatched to the West Lower, you aren't paid for that. And if you get sent up into the grandstand, you've not paid enough for that. And whereas the people already in the grandstand already have, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of that chat, but there was also a rumour circulating that we were going around Yorkshire looking for clubs to ground share with. It's become that bad. I don't know. And again, I need to be very careful here and tell you that this hasn't been confirmed. This is just what people were talking about on the day in Tramlines on Friday. Just bear with me. The rumour mill. Got to make sure I get that out because that's my allegedly there, John. Right. So, could we be playing at the New York Stadium? Is it big enough?
Well, no, it's not big enough. It's only 12,000, isn't it? The entire stadium. So yeah, I think I'd seen one or two rumours like you mentioned there, but not actually spoken to them. Just
no. I think the plan is just to send the people that are sat in the North Stand to the North Stand to Rotherham.
Yeah, send them to New York.
Yeah, they're gonna New York. Yeah,
it might be a better.
You might have a better view.
But I think the thing is, we need to produce a safety certificate every season, don't we? We need to make it needs to be presented and it needs to all be signed off. So we've known there's been an issue with that stand for a while now. It's not just kind of snuck up on us, it's been deteriorating for long enough for them to know in advance that something needs doing. Now, obviously, I don't know what Mr. Chancellor's thinking was about that. Had the money issues already hit well before we knew. We obviously know he didn't spend a lot in that last January transfer window, but that's just on the first team. So what's he going to do with the stadium? And he's always kind of taken the approach, hasn't he, Mr. Chancellor, that the stadium is not. It's kind of secondary. It was always been secondary to him. I think he used phrases like, "Well, when we get to the Premier League, then we'll do upgrades to the stadium." But we've not even seen that. We saw the pitch. We saw the Deso pitch, didn't we? And we saw the big screen, and that was in the very, very early sort of years of his tenure. But it's really, really worrying to think that there's a lot of people. Is it about 12,000 that stand holds? It's a real problem. I mean, what they're going to do? I mean, they're not going to get a refund on the season tickets. We know that. That's completely no. So, and like you said, sitting in different parts of the ground poses its own problems, not least because of pricing structures for people who've already paid. And
let me be careful here, John. Let me just proffer a side opinion here. We're not talking 20, 30 quid in the disparity of these tickets that these people have bought. You know what I mean? The difference between the North Stand and the South Stand is nearly 100 quid. It's nearly 300 quid between the Kop and the Grandstand. You know what I mean? Because of our pricing structure that is beyond insanity at our club. That's why it's posed this problem. If there was an issue, let's say the difference was, 30 quid. I'd be like, nah, lads, come and have a seat. Let's try and make it a cauldron or and all the other phrases that come with it. But and you know what we're like in Yorkshire? We don't like unfairness. But, you can't be unjust. It's a trait that I'm proud of being from Yorkshire. There needs to be a fairness to it. How has he got that and I haven't, and we do the same thing type of thing? You know what I mean? Because the prices are so high. That's why it's an issue, right?
100%. Yeah, because they can't. There's no way for them to subsidise it because they've got no money. So they can't say, well, we're going to sit them in this and we'll give you like a partial refund or any kind of subsidisation, whichever way around it would be. They can't do because he's not got the money. So it presents its own problems because it's like, wandering into first class and somebody saying, hang on a minute, our economy is that way. And people get really antsy about it and rightly so because, they've paid for that privilege to sit in the grandstand or to sit on the South Stand, and they're gonna feel like it's not their problem. So why should they why should they have to pay full like when somebody else is going to be sitting there because of an issue which they've known about for long enough now hasn't been rectified, and that's the issue with the North Stand and the structure of it.
But he's still going to have to appease however many people on the South Stand that have paid more money. Do you know what I mean? And there's going to be certain people that will go, well, that's not fair. I'm not happy about it. I'm going to sit there and take it. But of all the people that have paid on the South for the season tickets, if you're then finding yourself in a situation, if it does get to it, where we talked about previously, if the North Stand come and sit on the South, there are going to be people that are creating problems for this football club in all the right ways because it's not right. It's not fair. It's not the right way of doing business. There will be people that will be contacting advice bureaus looking at what they can do in terms of getting refunds, what they're going to do in terms of the next steps, because at the end of the day, if you're a family of 2, 3, 4 and you're paying out however much, you're paying more than the people on the North Stand, there's got to be some sort of compensation, hasn't there?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I feel that this is going to be an ongoing issue longer than it needs to be because the chairman's essentially gambling with people's happiness, and has been for a while. Let's not fart around the poo on that one. Ashley, have you got anything to add? Do the people in internet land have anything to add?
Oh, they've got plenty to add. I've got nothing to add. I mean, unfortunately, we've got way bigger problems than refunding people 80 quid for a season ticket, aren't we, at the minute? And that's harsh because it is people's money and things, but there isn't. It's an hard one because is there any money there to refund?
No.
Would he have to give you 10% off in the club or give you a voucher for a shirt that no one wants to get because everyone's boycotting it? And
he'll sell fancy Ingleton or something. That's what'll happen. They'll be like, oh, you want your money back, do you? Well, I'm going to sell the big sexy man.
So can't be asked. It's just how
you looking his name out right now, don't you, Ash? Yeah,
I am. Yeah, I'm a season ticket holder on the North, and I don't want to sit and eat prawn sandwiches on the South. So that's it. Well, people, I've sat in them for 30, 40, 50 years in the same spot, aren't they? So I mean, the people who are going to get displaced are going to be even pissed off, aren't they, as well?
We eat chicken on the south.
Anyone's welcome at the back of the Kop if they promise to keep the noise down. Liam Henderson, it's not all one way though. It's the same for North Stand, who have paid more and get moved to the Kop. I suppose right there, yeah, if they get moved. And how much on the? I know that they aren't sold season tickets in the lower west. Well, how much would they be? You know, would they say, well, they're the same price as North, so you're not going to get no money. And how are they going to split people? You're in North, you're in Kop, you're in South, you're in Grandstand, or do you get to choose? It's the clubs or the club Chancery is creating more problems every day by just looking at what he's not doing, what he's not saying, and what he's not putting statements out about. So yeah.
Absolute tough one. I don't know the answer to it apart from 2 years ago fix the fucking stand. You know what I mean? That's kind of
simple, isn't it?
All I've got. Like, yeah, 2 years ago they said it weren't fit for purpose. Do something about it, you crackhead.
I bet it was longer than that, weren't it? God knows how long it's been going on for.
I had a comment the other day. Ash uploaded a picture of me at Tramlines, and I ran into Charlie and we took a quick picture, and somebody said, I've never seen that side of Dan Fudge's face. It's unnerving. And I'm kind of like, do I face that way? It's weird. I don't like it. It don't look like me. I just realized that's why when you were talking, Ash, I was doing this.
We've just had another comment, and it's not because of the name, and I know you commented last time, but it is a very, very valid point. Can't be asked again. On a serious note, the North and the designated disabled stand, what's going to happen to these? So, yeah. Right. In fact, can't be asked. Could actually be Chancery, couldn't it?
Yeah. It's a similar sort of picture, Sloth from the Goonies. Right then. So, okay. So, Stevie, let me go through these notes. I just need to just cover what you've written down here, right? So, outstanding work is thought to include improvements to roof drainage, secure electrical wiring, and upkeep and strengthening of 6 of the 18 steel trusses. 6 is not a small job. Simon was mentioning that this is a bigger job than I think Chancery realises. The same report stated that a 2022 structural appraisal carried out by Yorkshire-based engineering consultancy company identified a number of high-priority actions, with work requiring to have commenced by the end of 2024. However, it's understood that while some of the remedial work has been completed, as of the spring, some of the more major recommendations have not been acted upon. Well, that is shocking information. Here, you need to sort this out. This is an absolute shambles. I'll pay you next Tuesday. You know what I mean? You can see that's how it's coming.
Dan, sorry, we just had a comment here by Liam. Interesting to find out how many tradesmen would do the work on the North Stand in return for their season tickets for a couple of seasons.
Do you know what? I think that people would do that if people wanted to work. Like, let's say, because you know what you tradesmen are like. I'm generalising, but you don't work on Fridays, do you? If you said every Friday we're going to come in and do some remedial work. I've worked in hospitality. I know how busy it is with Ivis vests and work boots on a Friday. Don't kid me on, lads. I know what you're up to. It is. Sorry, I'm going to get tradesmen coming at me now in the comments, aren't I? If you do want to get involved, don't forget we've got our socials on the screen now. If you want to smash the QR code,
don't forget to like and subscribe.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is @AshRogers, Rogers Ash. So, and then more information was, it is understood that recently as February, the club has sought a second opinion. So they got told 3 years ago, this stadium's knackered, and they've gone, I want a second opinion. And
that means you get the guy in from Juicens. Remember the old advert, Dan?
Yeah. I tell you what, it's even funnier than that, the second half of this sentence, John. It goes, and used a Bangkok-based construction company to review the situation. So I'd have preferred the geezer from Juicen, if I'm honest, John. I'd have preferred him. There's also been further second opinions sought by industry experts since the close of the season. And then mid-afternoon on Friday, it is unlikely that there will be an update regarding the status of the North Stand before next weekend. That's this weekend coming up. And the Star report, there's a real possibility that the stand could be temporarily closed. And then the same report claims that even if the stand is closed, work can be completed and a certificate issued during the season. Now, the second rumour that came out on the back of that people were circulating around Tramlines on Friday, is that the FA won't put a linesman/referee's assistant on that side of the pitch. Because when you think about it, that kind of makes sense, because if it's going to fall down, the liner will be, looking over his shoulder every time. There are no offsides at Hillsborough if you're facing that way. You know what I mean? It's nuts. This is absolutely nuts. And I said this last week. We were sat scratching for ideas about what we were going to talk about during the summer. Absolute content goldmine, this, boys and girls. Right then. So, Stevie, coaching and staffing updates. Following a successful end to their campaign last season, under-18s manager Andy Sharp is set to be promoted to the position of head of academy. And then Jordan Broadbent is believed to be moving into Sharp's position. A lot's happening with the back of house in terms of the coaching team. Yeah, that's because they've all left, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems to be that I don't think there's too much in that, other than, certain people that have been there for a long time have decided to move on for whatever reason, whether that be of their own choice and free will, or, we've got to a point now where the first team staff have all gone, right, I'm off, I'm going there, I'm going there. There's nothing to see here anymore, so I'm going over there. And everybody's just fallen up one. And if you look at the images that the club are putting out on X of the training montages on social media,
it's like nothing's happening the way they're doing that, isn't it?
But you've got Danny Rule pointing and smiling. You've got Henrik Pedersen stood next to him, and if it was out of context, Sheffield Wednesday X, these guys, you'd look at it and think that everything was all right. But like you said at the top of the show, we've not heard from Danny Rule, and we've lost Patterson, Smith, Windass, and I know somebody. We talked about this last week, and I know somebody said it might be that the chairman's instructing him not to say anything. And I just find that bizarre. If he's been sat there, the relationship between those two themselves, if he wants to say something, he's going to say something. He's not bound by the chairman. The LMA might be saying, right, you can't say anything. I find that absolutely bizarre. The man has to come out and say something. Managers up and down the country are talking about pre-season plans. It would make total sense for me. And, we know what's going on in terms of the players moving on and what have you. But if you wanted to sort of allay any sort of discontent among the crowd, you get the man at the top to go, right, this is what's happening. To keep everybody underneath on side. And it won't be the case, because we're football fans, and football fans are batshit crazy, and we'll do what we want when we want. But you want to hear some sort of message of content from chairman, from manager, from whoever it is, and it's just radio silence. And it makes no sense whatsoever. And what exacerbates the situation, what amplifies it and makes it even worse, is the fact that you're seeing these images of Danny Rule pointing and smiling in front of the man who has been perpetrated as being his replacement, depending on who you want to believe and what's going on. And then in and around that, you've got, as I start to say, Giles Coke, who 4 or 5 months ago, I'm in the academy now, and now he's working with the first team. And there's been no announcement there. It's just, I've moved up, I'm now working with them, and you can see it, but nobody's saying anything. So
it's a tough one. Ash, there's some absolutely glorious comments there. Put Rob Shirley's up, because that, just to echo what Stevie was saying, because that really made me laugh.
So Rob Shirley has got breaking news. Doris, there's a new DOF.
That's it. Well done, Doris. Doris, the tea lady, getting promoted to director of football. That was some great delivery of that, Ash. What else? What other comments have we got?
Mad Ward, you can't make this shit up. He's on about the comments and not this show.
You can.
Yeah.
Next season, Sheffield Wednesday matches will be shown exactly on board.
Actually, have you had a stroke? Have you?
Why? What?
Is it delay?
Yeah, I'm in hotel Wi-Fi, aren't I? I'm on hotel Wi-Fi.
Right.
Going to be an interesting first match presser.
There's not going to be one, though, is there? No. I can't see how there'll be one.
Alex Miller put something on X earlier, said that I think the first time that I don't know if they're contracted or anything, is the match before day before presser to the match. He reckons that's the first time they'll get a chat with whoever's in charge.
But then there were that, because to go back to what Stevie was saying earlier, then there's that rumour that Pedersen was basically offered the job, so signed on thinking I'm going to get this gig. Then Rule comes back. So it's like, hang on a minute, what's going on here? And you can imagine that there's like them little plaques on door that say manager that you can slide off. You imagine that like Rule walks down and slides it off, doesn't it? When Pedersen's in, and then when Pedersen's looking round corner when Rule's not there, and he slides it back onto the door. No, manager, it's just a shambles, man, isn't it?
You know those doctors' offices where they slide is in, is out. They've got one of those like doors on the front of the name tag, and they just like got Danny's name and Pedersen's, and whoever's in just they slide over the other name. Like, I know how that works. I've seen it. Right then. So then we get to matters in the trust, Ashley, and I'll come to you about this. So the Supporters Trust share a call to action imploring any supporters who've received a season ticket refund. Sorry, tell me about this because I'm out the loop on this. I missed that. I was working all day. Is that something you're au fait with, Ash?
No, not seeing it, mate. Sorry about that.
All right, these are your notes. Can you elaborate for us? Because I've missed that one.
It was literally they every now and again they'll put out a statement. You'll see the Supporters Trust that goes up, the logo, and certain people will copy it, post it, retweet it, comment on it, share it on social media. The trust have basically come out and it's a call to action, and what they want is the supporters who have lobbied for and received season ticket refunds or are looking to do so, or if they're waiting, so they've contacted the club and said, right, I want a refund, and they're waiting for a response from the club. The trust want to hear from them, because what the trust are now doing is they're getting legal advice. My understanding is they're looking at legal advice to see whether or not the club is acting lawfully in recompensating anybody that's asked for a refund. So if you, Dan, said, I want a refund, and the club say no, are they doing so legally based on the terms of the season ticket, terms that you've asked for?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's interesting. That's so if you have applied for a refund or you'd like one, get in touch with the trust. Look on their socials, and they'll show you how to get in touch and tell them to see if they can garner as much information as people who've decided, you know what, I've had enough. I've got better things to spend my money on. And from this guy who's a Sheffield Wednesday fan, I don't blame you. You'll get no vitriol from me here. I completely understand it. You know, you've got these people that go, and I feel like we get rinsed as football fans, especially Sheffield Wednesday, that we talk about the other bits that come with it, us meeting up together, seeing it, sharing that time with our family, the fact that we've been going all these years, and all the other stories that we spoke about over the last year on this show specifically. It's like a tax. And I completely understand why you'd go, do you know what? I'm not bothered anymore because of that bloke. And I get it. I completely understand. And then we move to matters on the pitch, John. Pre-season preparations continue behind closed doors as we played Mansfield Town. We are so back right now, John. We had goals from Ike Ugbo and Olaf Kabatski. It's happening. We're going to win the league. Hold tight, the crew.
Yeah, I mean, if Ugbo scores, you know something's wrong, don't you? So we're not more. But it's all been weird with that as well, isn't it? It's like we played York and didn't know about it until like, oh yeah, today we played York. It was like North Korea news or something. It's like, today we played a game against York Dragons. It's like, what's going on here? All right, we won 3-0. That's nice, isn't it? You know, just complete radio silence, isn't it? But yeah, we've got Mansfield, and I think we've got another one coming up, haven't we? Was it Burnley we've arranged something with? I think it's Burnley.
Yes.
So we'll see, won't we? But yeah, it's just all mad, mate, isn't it?
And that's the worst bit. You know, talking about the games is why we started this show. And then we've had a game and we're all sat there going, yeah, stadiums falling to bits. Go on, Ash.
Dan, what do you think? Obviously, we're taking a piss a little bit here by saying things, but you know, the admin on whoever, who's making these decisions for them not to put any news out at all? Now, I understand not talking about matters off the field, but at least talk about and big up the pre-season matches. Yes, under 21s or a makeshift 11 playing two halves of 30 and then a 20 or whatever it was the other night. Why not do that? Is he that micromanaging just over everything that he's not even letting the people that are probably still not getting paid their full wage reporting and letting us Wednesday fans know what's happening? Because I can't see, for whatever reason, that they shouldn't put out that we've had a friendly against whoever, and this player's played or this player's not played. At least it's something, because at the minute there's no communication or whatever. And for the guys, and we've bigged them up a lot, like the local journos and all that. And then when they put any tweet out, it's "we understand" or "I'm led to believe." That's fucking bollocks, isn't it? That they can't actually put, "Oh yeah, these guys played" or "this guy played" or anything. It's all hearsay, even from the local journalists. They're not allowed to actually say, because when you say "understand," that means that they've not actually been told, they've heard it from somebody, or do you know what I mean? Or they're led to believe. It's absolutely takes the piss. And it's getting really frustrating that every time you open your phone or look on X or Facebook or wherever, or even bloody LMS chat, it's just miserable shit all the time. Every day. There's just nothing positive about the club at all.
Whoa.
Apart from the people,
this?
apart from the people who are still going to work at the club, who probably haven't been paid, and they're still trying to churn out all the stuff and getting all the vitriol from fans because of season tickets or XYZ. They don't deserve that, do they? But we're frustrated with all the. Sorry, I'm ranting.
That was absolutely bloody brilliant, and that's going to be tonight's
Hot topic.
Is there a North Korean banning silence order? Seriously, like there is an element of that you know, we should be celebrating success. We should be able to put out some things that are positive news. You know what I mean?
Any news, isn't it, as well?
There should be something coming out, something that will make us forget just for 30 seconds that there is something else going on. Because Ash, in terms of the friendlies, that's a really good point, right? Because what there is, the reason they're behind closed doors, obviously, is because they'll think people are going to protest at someone else's ground or at ours. You know, we don't know if we can play on the pitch, so they're not going to be at Hillsborough. We're kind of robbing those, dare I say, smaller clubs of a bit of gate receipt as well, much to their chagrin. There's genuinely an issue there, and I feel like Chancery and, dare I say, Braithwaite and Son have made this pact, this arrangement to try and stem what information comes out of the club, because they don't like what comes back the other way. And to be fair, Chancery, I'm glad it's coming your way, because all of a sudden, every other club that's got a pre-arranged, sponsorship deal with Carabao, the drink, they're putting their tweets out, their posted tweets, as are getting deleted straight away. We've got no positive match reports coming from these friendlies. Joe and Alex are, I believe they are being told in the correct way, but you're right, there is a bit of a caveat there, and there would be some journalistic reason why that's in there, like some kind of I don't want to say get out of jail free card, but there is an exit on that, which I completely agree, because they've reported on this club for a long time, and they know how things can change quickly in football. So led to believe just kind of negate that it's it's an in the moment thing. Stevie, what about you? I mean, would you want to read about a win against Mansfield Town? I'd like to know who played.
To be fair, I think, was it Joe put out the 45 minutes, the 45 to 90, and then the 90 to 120. So I think you can see that, but it's not come from the club. It's come from Joe, and it wasn't a graphic or anything like that. It was just a post, listed the players, and if you weren't properly looking for it, I don't think you'd have found it, to be honest with you. I would want to know if there's any element of positivity. As it stands at the moment, and I know it sounds really pathetic saying this, but I've looked at a couple of bits, and there was a lad from Wolves who's not kicked a ball in first team football, but because he was at Man City and then trained with the first team at Wolves last season, has been with our under-21s last week, and I'm like, oh, that's quite good news. We've got somebody who might come and bolster the squad a little bit. We might get a player over the line. And yeah, I want to read about it. I want to hear about it. I want positivity, as much positivity as possible. Having said that, I totally understand why the club are being quiet, because anything that they say, people are going to jump on. It's just the way that it goes.
But that's social media anyway.
It is.
I'm gonna let me just proffer a different thought process on it. I do want to be balanced, right? If we get spanked 5-0 and we go final or defeat and then just put the final score up. Any team who gets a beating, there will be vitriol in the comments. And you know how I deal with that? I just don't look at them. You know what I mean? It's like this really millennial thing of people not, you know, when you're trying to offer somebody a job and they don't answer the phone because they don't recognize the number. Look at me. When you're answering the phone, there's a big red circle there. And if you don't like what the other person's saying or they're under the phone, you press it and they're not saying it anymore. Grow up. Like, you know what I mean? We, as a club social media account, you do have to put out positive and negative news. And unfortunately, because of the decisions made by the chairman over the last 8 years, there are going to be some nasty comments. Of course they are, but that's all they are right now. That's all they are.
But I hear what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying, and I'm exactly on the same page. But I think where your argument there, I think you're looking at the wrong people. And I don't think the social media people are the people we should be looking at. I think this has come from the top, and I think the top have gone to use, if you want to use John's analogy in North Korea, there has been a blanket. This is what we are going to say. We're going to minimise any sort of communication that we've got coming from the top, and this is an edict that's come from the top. Whether it be, and you could look at it as being an out there sort of theory that, well, they're not getting paid properly, so let's reduce the amount of work that they're doing. And I know that sounds a little bit sensationalist. It could be that, but at the end of the day, the social media team aren't suddenly going, right, we're not going to put anything out because we don't want to say anything in case people start having a go at us.
I think they are.
I don't think they are.
I think they are. Let me give you another example, right? And let me just point out a comment here from John Wakefield. It's a fair comment, right? Would you bother post if you were not being paid correctly? There was an absolute blanket social media silence from Sheffield Wednesday when we were going through the worst of it, when we weren't paying the team, and I completely agree with it. But I feel that there's been a definite change over the last couple of weeks. Now, what was his name? The Italian fella that won the league with Manchester City, Mancini. Right. So when Mancini lost his job with Manchester City, and they moved to that geezer that looked like that Eagle fella from the Muppets, Pellegrini, right? There was this big newspaper article of him stood there in his scarf, and it said, "Thank you, Man City fans," and all that. Were we at this point being led to believe that Mancini was sat there looking through fonts and swatches and which picture he's going to use and stuff like that? In the same vein, I don't believe that Chancery has sat there and said, you can tell them this news and you can tell them this news, but this news will not tell them. We'll cut down on how much is going on. I think that is a contrived might be a harsher word. That is a controlled effort to try and stem shit comments coming back the other way from the social media team. I think, or the comms team, and I think Trevor Braithwaite, and I can see why he's done it. This is not me having a dig at Trevor. I think that this is a thought process that they've gone down to try and stem what's coming back the other way, to try and reduce the conversations online. I am not having it that Chancery will sit there signing off on which article can go out. Did Stevie freeze?
I think I might have just frozen there, mate. I'm so sorry. Right. I disagree. I do think it's coming from above. I do. I can see him being that controlling. I can see him wanting to sign off on absolutely everything. I can see him turning around and going, I don't want to hear this and I don't want to see that. And you can look at the LinkedIn comments and the people that are grabbing those snapshots of him replying to emails and stuff like that. I genuinely believe that some of those will be absolutely contrived and made up, but there will be elements of truth in what is happening there. If that's at the
forefront of his mind, if he's thinking about what's coming back on social media, just click on the hashtag. You don't even need to do a post. Just click on the hashtag. You know what I mean? And you'll see what people are saying. If you want to stick your head in the sand, Chancery, and hide from it and say, we're going to say this and we're going to say that, don't look.
Well, let me ask you one.
Let me ask the red button.
Let me ask you one last question on this, then, and I'll leave it for you. If it came to pass and you found out, and I'm not saying that we know because we don't, if you found out that it was coming from the top and it was Chancery saying that you can't do this and you can say that, and I'm micromanaging it to that level, Daniel Fudge, would you be surprised?
No, I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised, but I also won't be surprised that a comms team have tried to stem the amount of information coming out of the club as well. I won't be surprised at either, because this club is as mad as a fish in petrol.
Yeah, it is.
And Ash, anybody else? Because Steve is getting a bit of love, but what?
Rob Shirley, no comms professional would be advocating for the current approach. This has Chancery written all over it.
Fair enough.
Is it Nick? Is it a professional though, or is it social media team also the kitchen staff?
It's the director of football that's just been promoted from tea lady, isn't it?
Steve DJ, Risky White, great name. Chancery really is a petulant little child, isn't he? Yeah.
And that's why it wouldn't surprise me,
Yeah.
because of that. I agree that there would be, he would sit there on his phone reading the things about him, but if he was that self-aware, he wouldn't have posted a picture of him and his family outside that fancy London restaurant.
Yeah, it's just it's just weird, isn't it? Because you get like you hear about games that have been played like after the event, and like we mentioned York earlier, you hear that, and like, well, why didn't you give us a live update with that? You know, people might want to follow that, despite the mess that we're all in. Then you get you hear about these players on trial, and then it goes silent for a few days, and the next minute you see a picture of Barry Bannon outside Callum Patterson, and you're like, what's going on here? You know, it's just all weird.
But then you wouldn't begrudge any staff member doing extra stuff or more than the minimum because of the wage structure that they're not being paid or anything, isn't it? Some of the stuff that may have been going out might have been that the staff were doing it because that's the job. They love the job. They love the club. But now not getting paid. So why should they do that extra little bit as well? So to do live.
I don't think that talking about the games that we've played in pre-season, because one, we should be advertising that we've had a pre-season.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's doing extra bits. I think that's a contrived decision between Chancery and the comms team. There was a comment that I started earlier from Jake that says Trevor is the director of communications, will look really well on his CV moving forward. Really can't understand why him and Alistair don't get the hell out of there. They'll be remembered as enablers. I agree. They will. They will. I feel like they'll get tarred with being Chancery apologists. Look, a lot of people are saying about Barry Bannon nowadays. But I am through the looking glass right now. You know what I mean? I know I'm saying things that might fracture our relationship with the club, and they've been really nice to us over the time. But some of these things need saying. I want to know about the games. I want to know about the preseason. I want to know what's running through the manager's head. I want to know if there's any press release about, Joe and Alex could be contacted by the club and go, this is where we are in a takeover process. There's been a couple of people. It's only at 20% right now, but these things take time because that's something. That is something.
Yeah.
We've not even heard from the manager after a game.
Yeah,
that's absolutely spot on that. Because if you think about liking it to like when somebody's not very well and they're really not very well and they're in hospital and you're a relative of theirs, you want to find out what's going on with them, don't you? So you turn up, you're asking doctors and nurses, are they okay? Has there been any progress? Are they any better? Are they swallowing food? This, that, and the other. You want to know what's happening, don't you? You don't want to just be left in the dark. We've got very little of the club left to get any kind of news, any kind of articles, anything. We're feeding on scraps here from his massive table. We're feeding on absolute scraps, and all we want to know is what we've got. We've got very little left. So what we want to know is, we played there. This guy's on trial. Yeah, we've got that. We played again. We're organising another friendly. We've got a shirt coming out. We've got a third shirt coming. No, we don't get any of that. We get little bits here and there.
None of that. This third shirt now has all of a sudden become this massive bone of contention because we've heard nothing about it, and it's been built up and built up and built up. And I can 100% guarantee that as soon as we announce it, vitriol is going to be a plenty. It's going to be a go-go.
That's all the club's fault, isn't it? They've brought that on.
Yeah.
It's not
these decisions that we're discussing right now.
Yeah. It's not anything that they don't know because what is it now? Been over a year, Neil? A year, maybe? Was it September last year? It went on sale. So the club are just doing it all to themselves. Whoever it is, if it is the idiot at the top or if it's some of the enablers, as you said, Dan.
I don't think when we
release, hang on, Stevie, when we release this third kit, let us do it. I don't want any money. We'll stand on the pitch, clip this, right? We don't want any money. Just let us do it.
Al's in the yard on Sunday.
Al's in the yard. Just send some shirts down. I'll stand there. I'll flex one out. Boom. What about that? Like Johnny Bravo. And then just send it us. We'll do it. And then we'll make it about the fans because I don't think that the social media for Sheffield Wednesday releasing that is going to get that kit with its old badge that should have come out in a lot of fanfare, I don't think it's going to drop in the. I don't think it's going to come across right. Let us do it. We'll do it for free. I just let's get the kit out and make it about the fans. Let's do that. Clip that. Clip that. Clip that. Go on, Ash.
No, we've had some comments. There was one here that come up earlier. Jay Blogs, are the club contravening the fan engagement plan as required by the EFL? Not currently, because he's part of the engagement panel did request a meeting, or scheduled a meeting with it, and that got cancelled. They have contacted the club for answers and not heard anything back. So it's basically silence from not just for fans, but obviously the engagement panel as well, and all the supporters groups that's part of it. They're not contravening it, because I don't know the exact thing, but he has to have 2 meetings in space of 12 months or something daft like that, which he has had.
Fucking hell. 2 whole meetings.
Yeah, and one of them has to be in front of, which was the in January, the fan forum. So yeah, so not at the moment, but it's silence from everyone there. So it's a bit of a shit show in that as well.
Sorry, Stevie, I cut you off there early on. What were we going to say?
Oh, it's just a quick one before you went on your marketing campaign.
I've been going to gym a lot. I've shifted 23 kilograms in the last 6 months. So you can see that. Let's do it before and after. I'm all right now. I've got a wonky jaw now.
So sexy.
I know,
never
right?
fancied
you. Look at me. I can release a kick. Suck it in. High-waisted trousers.
Super quick. I just to go back and sort of give my last point on the sort of autonomy that we do or don't have. You can sit on those forums that Ashley's just alluded to. There is one person that's making decisions here, and I think if the people underneath that, whether we want to call them enablers, we want to call them people that, you know, employees, whatever they are, I think that they are hamstrung to an extent in terms of what they can and can't do, what they can and can't say, and I think they would be very different employees if they weren't being, I don't want to use the word dictated to, but told what they can and can't do.
I think he's focusing on the wrong thing, and I think if that is true, if he is going through every social media potential post and going, no, swap, got need, then you're a fucking idiot and you're tone deaf.
Yeah, I agree, but I think it's the bigger picture. I'm alluding to the bigger picture there. I don't just think it's about the social media. I think it's about the day-to-day running of the club. I think we're threadbare in terms of the committee, in terms of the board, in terms of what we have behind the scenes. But I think we are there for a reason, and I think that reason is that the less people that can see what's going on, the less you can find out. And I think these people that are working closely with the chairman are probably very frustrated about what's going on at the moment.
Okay, let's put a pin in that. That was tonight's hot topic. Do you know what? I like that as a topic. That I'd love to know. I would genuinely love to know the answer to that. Ash is probably going to get a shitty email from Trevor Braithwaite tomorrow now, going, "What the fucking hell are you talking about? How have you let him rant off like that?" We didn't plan that, as you could probably tell. But we are available for modelling duties. If you do want to come and give us some kits for Owls in the Yard, that is on the 3rd of August. We're in the final week, boys and girls, of the get together before the season. Now, we wanted to make this an event where it was no protest, no negative. It's going to be music. It's going to be fun. It's going to be pints. It's going to be stuff to do for the kids. It's going to be fairground rides. There was talk about a face painter. There's going to be tat shops. Tom Burton's going to be there if you want to get yourself some shirts over there. He does print on your Chinese shirts. So he's not printing on the day, but he will be taking orders on the day. So if you want to get something done, you know, Tom Burton's there. Wednesday Warehouse is going to come down. Hey?
Mr. Meadows.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, yes, he's calling Mr. Meadows on the Instagrams, isn't he? And the Wednesday Warehouse are going to be there for a pint later on that afternoon. We've got a lot going on. We've got so much happening. I am 5p, 50p about it the entire time. Now, if you do have a spare 40 minutes where you've got paint to watch dry, you can go online and have a look at Josh Windas's review of his own season, available on YouTube.
It's a tough watch, isn't it, Dan?
It's a tough watch, I tell you what. There are some bits come out of it, don't get me wrong, where it was clear before the end of the season he knew he wasn't going to be there this season. That was quite telling in the edit. I don't know if he was meant to say that, but there's a bit in it where he's in like a blue hoodie and he says, "Yeah, we've got 4 games to go in the season to do like a little stadium tour," and he talks about not being there, and you go, "Oh, So you knew you weren't going to be here.
One day I'll come back, maybe play again. One day I'll come back and play a game at Hillsborough again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said.
In his own way.
In his own way. Yeah, absolutely. Stevie, our gambling officer, has got some exciting news for you. We've made a business connection, Stevie, haven't we?
We have indeed. Can you put the graphic up for me?
I can sort you right out. I can get that for you.
Thank you very much. Introducing Tipple. We've been doing some work behind the scenes. So Tipple is a new online platform. It's an app that you can use if you are on Apple. They're working on getting it out on Android as well. We have set up a league, and as you're looking at the screen now, if you're on YouTube or you're watching online, the top left of the screen is the app that you should be able to find. We have a code. It's TWWPod. The premise behind this is it's a kind of hybrid between Super 6 and a prediction league. So there are no picking players. There's no money. You don't have to guess a scoreline. You're not transferring anything. All you've got to do is try and figure out whether the 6 teams that you pick or the 6 games that you pick, you're going to get a home win, a draw, or an away win. And based on the points that or based on the results that you select, you will get a number of points. It's all going to be in the small print once you've downloaded the app. We'll get that out on our social media first thing tomorrow morning, along with the code TWWPod, not TWWcast, it's TWWPod.
I'm glad you didn't say what it was. I'm glad you said what it wasn't, Stevie. That wouldn't have confused it at all, would it?
No, I'm so sorry. As soon as my mouth started moving, I realised that Dan was going to jump on that. It's TWWPod, P-O-D, pod. TWW Pod. I'm not going to say it anymore because I nearly said it again. TWW Pod. Okay. They're a great group of guys. We've been talking to them sort of behind the scenes at the moment for a couple of weeks now. If you go on their website, you can see that they've linked up with us, and they've got links to our YouTube channel. They're promoting us, and we're more than happy to be on board with Tipple and have them supporting. I think it's going to be something that we're going to be floating in the Last Man Standing chat as well, and we're going to put it out on our socials just for a laugh at the moment, just see if we can get it off the ground and see how things are going. So TWW Pod, download the Tipple app on Apple and use that code to join our league, which starts this weekend. Is there a link I can put onto our link tree? There will be a link that you can put onto the link tree, I think.
Lovely stuff. I will add that this evening. I will get something on there. So if the QR code is back on the screen right now, ladies and gents, if you do want to get us on all the socials. Now, finally, there's nothing else, is there? We've done the Euro win. We did the bench walk. We've done Tipple. Personal news. I'm going to be on the radio.
Oh, no.
Not just any radio, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna be hosting on TalkSport 2, the EFL Fan Network show for the Paymaster Generals. It's going to be. I did float the idea of the Dan Fudge show, but that got vetoed early doors. Just like Owls in the Yard got, I got vetoed. Fudge Fest on that. So so I'm going to be on the radio. I'm going to be on TalkSport 2, 5 p.m. on Thursday. Make sure you tune in. That's going to be episode 1. Luckily, we are going to pre-record the first few episodes because I will say fuck and or bugger at some point. So we're going to get that out the way, and I would appreciate if some of you guys could have a listen to me on the wireless. I believe it's available on DAB and all your smart speakers. So please get involved. It's going to be TalkSport 2, 5 p.m, the EFL Fan Network show. I will be coming in your ears. Now, you said that, John Wakefield, online, and I'm not going to be able to forget that as a phrase out of my brain, because what they do, they give you a list of things that you can't say, and all I can think of is those words now. You know what I mean? The list of things that I can't say, and I say a good chunk of things on the internet. A lot of them, Stevie won't speak to me afterwards if I said a lot of them. But there's a good few that I didn't even know I couldn't say. And if you want that list, make sure you send us a message on our socials on the screen right now. Listen, does anybody have any other business? Anybody want to talk about anything else?
No, don't think so, my good man.
You've covered everything tonight, mate.
It's well, that never happens. I did all of Stevie's. Big thanks to Stevie for doing the homework once again. Thank you tonight to John, Ash, and the homework meister himself. Thanks a lot to you guys getting involved. Thanks a lot for joining us this evening, and see you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday Week. Bringing you football analysis.
They said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you banter.
I don't think anybody wants to listen to my boring anecdotes.
Why not? You've been doing it for 4 years on this show.
I should not have said that. I should not have said that.
This show's like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. Hey, pay your bills. I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there for podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday week. Join us.
Put on your